record it separately so I can use it in case I need to do it differently.
Okay.
Okay, and it goes to the cloud. Going to be on YouTube in just a second. How exciting. Record it separately so I can use it. There we go. So we are live. Okay, so welcome everybody. This is Ralph Havens, Beyond Limits Physical Therapy. And I have two of my friends here off screen doing this process with us. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this process, and then we're going to get right to it, because it's something that I use every day to help myself heal the mental, emotional, spiritual stuff that gets in the way of life. And sometimes even the physical conditions can be affected by non-physical things. Like if somebody's going through a breakup, you know, it can cause pain. And if a kid is running track, but their parents are going through a breakup, it can cause problems. A coach that I really like at C Home says, we just don't even know what kids are going through at home. So it's like when we see performances, you know, you don't know. And it's for all of us. We're not robots. We get affected by stuff. And so the process I'm going to use is one that we can use for an obstacle. If there's something that is in the way, there's something that's like bugging you, some kind of problem, some kind of thing that you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about, or you know, something, we can use that. So that obstacle is the way kind of idea. And we're going to use it to go find and clear whatever that is, the mental stuff, the emotional stuff, the spiritual stuff. And another way you can use it is if you have a vision, a dream, something you want. And so if there's a certain thing you're trying to create, whether it's in running or life or business or your love relationships, if there's some kind of dream you have, some kind of goal, we can use that. So we're going to do this. Oh my goodness, I wonder if somebody's coming to see me. No, that's oh, the Tesla people, the people with the plaid. Okay. So we're in beautiful Fairhaven, and I got big windows looking out over the Fairhaven. So here we go. So so before we start, I want to tell you a little bit about where it came from and a sense of it, so you know why it's useful. Years ago, I'd already been doing the process, and I was my little boy, when he was a little guy, almost drowned twice. One I do remember, the other one I even forgot what it was about, but I know it was very, very serious. We're lucky he made it through, and I thank God every day that he did make it through. But as a result, years ago we were trying to have him learn to swim. And we were driving to Vancouver. It takes an hour to get to Vancouver, and they have a beautiful saltwater pool outside. And he was taking swim lessons, and he wouldn't put his head under the water. And so we would go every day in July, 5 days a week, and he just would not put his head under the water. And so a couple of weeks in, I said, "You want to do the process?" And he said, "Okay." So I'm going to tell you what it is, and then we're going to use it. While we were driving over to Vancouver, I said, "Think about the pool. You're going to be in the pool pretty soon." And I said, "What do you feel in your body?" And he felt pain. You know, he was going to be in the pool pretty soon. So I said, "Just notice the feeling and just follow it." And he just followed it and followed it and followed it. And then it was gone. And I said, "Okay, we're getting closer to Vancouver. We're about to get there. You're going to be in the water soon. What do you feel?" And he's like, I feel pain." So it's like he felt it and felt it and felt it and felt it and felt it. And then he didn't feel it. And as we're pulling into the parking lot, he's like, "Yeah, I don't feel anything." It's like, "Okay, let's test it." So he went to his swim lesson. He put his head under the water and he learned to swim. And he was like, "I love this process." So we called it the peace process at that time. But as I learned this process for myself, it improved the number of people finding me on YouTube. So I was like trying to figure out how to get people to know who I was. And we were living up by Mount Baker. And my wife was like, "What are you doing?" Because more people were finding me in some very magical ways. And I said, "I'm doing this thing. It's hardly a meditation." And so then I started doing it with my clients. And I had one client I remember that had knee pain and shoulder pain. And but she also had some other stuff she was working on, some stuff with the, mental, emotional, spiritual kind of stuff she was working on. So we did this process for her, and her knee pain went away. It took a few weeks, and it was not everything we did, but that was one thing we did. And another client who had an ankle that kept popping over, and she would literally fall 2 or 3 times a day. And so it was the very first time I saw her, and I was going to put my hand on her foot to do a little technique, and she told me, "Don't touch your foot. Don't touch my foot." And I asked her more about what happened, and she had been in a bad car wreck as a teenager and almost lost her foot and had botched surgeries. And ever since then, her knee would pop out. so I said, well, let's do this process. So I did the same process I just described, and we're going to walk you guys through it. And after an hour, she said, I think you can touch my foot. And I touched her foot. I didn't treat it besides that. And she left. And she came back a week later and it didn't pop out. And it never popped out again. And so she had been protecting herself from some mental, emotional anguish of almost losing her foot 20 years before. So we're not robots. This kind of stuff affects us and it can show up in physical ways, but there is a way to use it to clear stuff. So we're going to use it and as you like. So the other part, let me give you one more piece, just so you have some, why would we do this? As I learned this process, I started researching back, like, well, where did it come from? And turns out it's what Buddha used. It's the Vipassana meditation. It's what Jesus said, be still and know I am God. It's what David R. Hawkins, MD, PhD, used, his book, Letting Go. Michael A. Singer built $1 billion business. And this is what he used. He called it surrender, the surrender experiment. Who else? David R. Hawkins, Michael A. Singer, Eckhart Tolle, in his introduction to The Power of Now, he has these instructions and he says, this one thing was the most powerful thing. People would send him letters after he wrote The Power of Now, and they were saying the most powerful part was this part. And then my Qigong from Ming Tong Gu, the chant that I've been saying for 20 years, I didn't realize it all that time. Literally, the last 3 lines are the instructions to this process, which is let go of all distracting thoughts, feel your body inwardly, entire body is harmonized with qi. So we're going to use this thing that's as old as, it's the oldest meditation I think there is. And so here's how we do it. Here's you could just sit there and just relax. And for the moment, think about something that that's either bugging you or something you want to work on. Like just and we, if you were doing this live with me, I would talk to you and hear what it was. But just think about the issue at hand. So I'll be silent for a moment and just think about the issue that you that's really you want to resolve. And we call this poking the bear. You're like kind of pulling it up. And if you would poke the bear a little bit more, when you think about the issue, if it didn't resolve, if it just kept going on for months and months and months and years, just consider that. It's a possibility. And whatever it is, if it got even worse, what's the worst thing that could happen? And so now that we've poked the bear, what you can do is start to go in your body and just stay out of your thoughts and stay in your body. And it's a very simple process. And just notice the physical sensation. Notice where it is between, say, your head and your hips, somewhere in that center part of your body. Just notice what you notice and stay very aware of the physical sensation. Stay out of your thoughts and stay in your body. And if you like, if it's easy, if it helps you concentrate better, you can use a finger to touch the spot. And that way, if it moves a little bit, you can move your fingers. And if you touch the spot, touch it really lightly. Or if you don't have to touch it, you could just notice it. And notice the most intense part and just follow it. That's right. So whatever's going on, it brings up something that's a physical sensation. Heartbreak, betrayal, devastation, loss of money, a breakup, it hurts. And if we can just feel it without the labels, it'll run itself through. It just wants to be felt. Even if it's something that happened many years ago. And whatever you're noticing, if it feels like anxiety or fear or anger, it's like that's a label. Just go notice, what is the actual physical sensation? Is it pressure? Is it twisty? Is it tight? And in the spot that you're noticing, what's happening there? And notice the most intense part. Give it space. Let it breathe. Stay out of the thoughts. Stay in the body. That's right. That's right. And whatever you're noticing, see if you could get even more into the most intense part of the most intense part. Maybe you go in with your intention at a certain angle, or you spiral in a little bit and touch that most intense part. That's it. That's it. You're doing great. You can send it love, and it's unconditional love. You're not trying to change it. You're letting it be there. That's right. And notice what's happening in there. My friend, the late Don Lay, he had a near-death experience, and he came back definitely enlightened. And I interviewed him quite a few times, and I asked him, "What's your best advice for meditation?" And he laughed, and he's always happy. And he said, "Shut up and listen." And so this is that same kind of like, be still and just notice. That's it. Stay out of your thoughts. Stay in your body. Notice the most intense part. Mm. And as you notice, if you notice a thought, then just notice right back in the body. That's right. And if it's moving, just follow it. If it's staying in one spot, just notice it. And see if there's an entry point into the spot. Like, can you open a little hatch and then go in? And touch the most intense part. And is there an angle that you can come in from the side or the front, or maybe you go in and you start to spiral into the center of it. That's right. That's right. You're doing great. And if, I'll just keep it real simple. At the end, I'll show you something really cool, a little technique you can do too. Notice the most intense part. Stay out of your thoughts. Stay in your body. It's in so many wisdom healing traditions. He said, be still and know I am God. Be still and know. Be still. Be. And tune in even deeper. Notice what's happening in your body. Follow the most intense part. If you like, you can touch it. There's something really powerful when you just really lightly, super lightly, just touch the skin at the spot and follow it. Yogananda called it self-realization. He also called it truth realization. That's it. Stay out of your thoughts. Stay in your body. And so later you can use the replay, and you can use it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or the whole time, or you could also just do it on your own. And for the next few moments, just stay very present, very aware. Whatever you're noticing, give it your full attention for the next minute or so. That's right. And whatever you're noticing, notice what's happening in there. Stay out of the labels. Stay in the body. So this is different than trying to figure it out. So if there's a problem, an obstacle of something that's bugging you, some kind of issue, you could do a lot of talking about it. You could do a lot of figuring out about it. You could, you know, all that trying to figure stuff out. You could get a PhD in it. But my experience is it doesn't really solve it. You just get to know why you have a problem. At least that's my experience. But this is having a way where whatever life presents to you, it gives you another opportunity to go in and feel it. Yeah. And then by feeling it and experience it completely, then it's done. And you don't have to protect yourself from that anymore. That's it. So you could use that for, like we just did for an obstacle. You could also use it for your vision. So we'll just do a short one. I think it'll be short for your vision. Think about what you want. Like if something were to be done for you today and you could get what you really want, think about that. Like what do you want? And think about getting everything you want, whatever that is. And then we go back in the body, stay out of your thoughts, stay in your body and notice what you notice and follow that. So it's like when you think about your vision of what you want, it can feel really, really good. And yet you might still have something that causes some tightness or pain or pressure. And whatever that is has got the answer. It's got the remedy. It's got everything that happened in the past. It's got everything that you, all your heart's desires. It's got everything. And your attention is consciousness. And that energy is giving it, is noticing it, noticing the thing. And in that process, that's how it is felt and experienced, and then it's transformed. So now it's just for a few moments, stay in your body, stay out of your thoughts. And then relax. And then what we can do after that is to see how life is, see what's different. And you can even test it right now. You can think about the problem you started with, the obstacle. And when you think about the problem, the issue, in this moment, does it cause you angst? And if it still causes angst, then you can go in and feel some more, or tomorrow go in and feel some more. But you might, it's been called the peace process, and because it does tend to give people peace, like even when the problem is still going on. But then life does change on the outside too, my experience. So try this out. Let me know what you notice, and let me know if your physical body feels different after doing this. Usually we do this live on our Zoom call in our once a month group. I'll put links in the description and in our daily group, and where I can interact with people. But over this YouTube thing, it's just without me being able to hear what you say, but you can leave comments or I'll give you contact information. So give it a go and let's see how it goes.